In this video, we'll look into row count transformation, which is there in the data flow task. Drag the data flow task onto the control flow, double click the data flow task, and here there is a row count. So we'll use that row count. Before using that, let us see the table. In the SQL basics database, there is a table names 1, and if we select the records from the names 1, there are 4 records in this: A, B, C, D. So the row count should be 4 from this table. We are sourcing it from this table. So let us take the data from the table using OLEDB source. Double click, and the server name is this, and database name is SQL basics, and table or view is names 1, and it has got the amp name column, and here I connect it to row count. So there are 4 rows coming from this OLEDB source, connected it to row count, and here we need a variable row count. So I'll show that variable which I have created as a row count. View, other windows, variables. So if you want to create this variable, let me delete this. Here you can delete it, and I'll create it again. Add variable, row count. The scope is for the whole package I am giving it, and data type is integer. Initial value is 0. So if I double click this row count, we can transfer that number of rows that are coming here to this variable user row count we created just now, and we can use it anywhere in the package. So here I'll show it in a script task by accessing that row count variable. Connect this, double click this, change it to Visual Basic, and here read only variables. Let us select the row count variable we have created just now and edit script. Now after this opens, we can add the code here and show it in the row count variable in a message box. So here dim row count as integer. We are selecting dim row count as integer, and we are declaring that row count as integer. Row count is equal to dts dot variables. It should come from this variable of row count dot row count dot value dot, we're converting it to string so that we can display it in a message box. MSG box, then we will display this row count. Save, close this, okay, and now let's save this package. Now let's execute this. So the 4 records here, if you see, this table has got 4 records, so the row count it is showing us 4 records. Close it, then package execution completed with success. So that's how we can use the row count transformation and capture the number of rows that are coming from the source in a variable, and we can use that variable anywhere in the package. Now let us consider another example. So in the database SQL basics, we have the table class. So if I select 1000 rows from this, it has got 10 records, and students are A and B students, and their marks for these subjects. So now we want to know, here there are only 10 records we are taking, but if there is a big table which has got a lot of records, then we can't just count the number of records based on the condition. Here we want to know how many records uh, are there for which the marks are greater than 80. So here if I just count it here, 93, 83 and 83. So there are 3 records whose marks are greater than 80, and there are 7 records where the marks are less than 80. So we can do this in SSIS by, so in case of a large databases, large tables, it will be useful. So if I double click this data flow task, I'll take the OLEDB source. We'll get the data from class. So I'll just name this class. Double click class. We are getting from this server and from this database. The table name is class, and these are the columns. Okay. So now we'll take the conditional split. There is the, take the conditional split here, drag that, and we'll split it based on the marks. So drag this marks here. So case 1 would be, here output name is case 1, B marks is greater than, and default, so if it is not greater than 80, it will be default. So default output name, let us give it less than 80. Now we'll redirect these case 1 and case 2 to different directions and count the records. So for counting the records for marks greater than 80 and marks less than 80, we need 2 row counts. So let us create 2 variables. View other windows, variables. We have here one row count. Let us rename it as row count 1 and add one more variable. We'll say row count 2. So close this. Now we'll drag the row count transformation. Here is the row count transformation. Drag it here, and here the case 1 is marks is greater than 80. So we had this connected. Now if I double click this and connect this row count to row count 1, now we'll drag one more row count transformation, connect this conditional split that default less than 80 to this transformation. Double click this, and the variable would be row count 2. Now we can see these counts. We know that row count greater than 1, I mean greater than 80, there are 3 records, and less than 80 there are 7 records. So let us see whether we get that here. This derived column, So I have added that column here, added one more derived column here, and to view the records we can just see, right click, enable data viewer, right click, enable data viewer. So here there is a one data viewer, and here there is one data viewer. I did this. So this is row count 1 output. That means there are 7 records here. And if I close this, and this one is 3 records. I just close this. This data viewer and this data viewer, we are just seeing there are one is 3 records and one is 7 records. So to find this row count, we can just go to the control flow and take a script task here, and we can show both the row counts, row count 1 and row count 2. Basic, we'll take both the row counts, row count 1, row count 2, and we'll edit script. So once this opens up, we can write the code to show the row count 1 and row count 2 in message box. I just send an thing, row count 1 in row count 2 as string. Now row 1 is equal to bts dot variables of row count 1 dot value dot toString, because we want to show it in message box. So I just copy this, change it to row count 2, row count 2 here, row count 2 here. Now with a box, row count 1 plus say hyphen, so that to separate both the row counts I am displaying in the same message box, plus row count 2. Now save it, close it, say OK. Now we can execute this. Here I will remove the data viewer so that it won't stop the process there, because we already seen this, we don't need this data viewers here. So if I execute this now, there are 3 and 7. So you can give the messages with a relevant code, so that you know what is 3 and what is 7. So that's how we can use the Rowcount transformation in SSIS.
If you like the video, please subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button. For notifications on upcoming videos, please click on the bell icon.